Hello and welcome to Butterfly Journeys Midlife Adventures, where we share real stories of travel, transformation and new beginnings. I'm your host, Joanna Filmer, and I want you to know that midlife is our time to step beyond expectations and to use travel or even a relocation as a powerful tool for rediscovery and reinvention.
Hey, soul
Let's go.
sister, I heard you made another man cry, but don't worry.
Welcome, Tracey. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you for coming along. Tell me, where are you today and what's going on for you at this point in the day?
In the daytime. I am in Marrakesh, Morocco, in my apartment, drinking coffee, chatting with you. It's a good way to spend a Sunday morning, that's for sure.
Absolutely, just chilling. Okay, so we're going to start. So you are Canadian, you grew up in Canada, and but through your life, you've had a kind of rich movement across different places through the Philippines, Greece and Morocco. Can you start by sharing with us a little bit about that journey? What does that look like? And like kind of what drew you to life abroad, I guess, yeah.
Right. Well, I got married young. I was 23, and my partner and I moved to the Philippines and did humanitarian work there for 6 years. And there we had 2 kids. And then we moved back to Canada, did some more different types of jobs in those 9 years and career changes. That's when I started my photography business, because I had actually grown up developing film with my dad. He had a 1-hour photo lab back in the film days. So photography was always a thing that I did, even when we were in the Philippines. But then the kids were young, started going to school. I was like, I need something to do. And so I started thinking about doing a photography career. So I did, opened up a small business, started shooting weddings, portraits. Was pretty good at it. Then we moved to Vancouver, and we did some more community type work there. And that's when my photography career really took off. And I started also collaborating with different photographers and networking. We had this huge network of like 600 wedding photographers. It was awesome. And that's when I was asked to shoot a wedding in Germany at the Disney Castle, Neuschwanstein Castle. That was actually my first time outside of going to the Philippines, my first time to Europe. My first time really traveling, because I don't really count us being in the Philippines as traveling, because that's where we lived. I mean, to some people it might seem like it, but so that was really exciting. And then I had taken my best friend with me, and after the wedding, we went down to Venice for 5 days, and that's where I left my heart. And after that, I don't know what else you want me to tell you about.
I was just thinking there about travel, about photography, really. What's the connection, do you think, between photography and people and travel? Because there's definitely a story in there, isn't there?
Absolutely. And you have to be super careful with photography in regards to taking pictures of other people in other cultures, even taking pictures of other people in general. You need permission. And in some cultures, they don't want their pictures taken. Like, let's say Morocco, for example, is very difficult, especially women, to ever take photos of women. And men, sometimes they just don't want it at all either. Luckily for me, a trait that I think that I inherited from my dad is I could just start talking to anybody. And so we'll sit there and chat for a bit, have a little conversation. In 5 minutes, we're BFFs. And at the end, I'm like, can I take your photo? And they're like, yes. So I have lots of those kind of portraits. And then I actually bought one of those Polaroid little printers so I can print it and give it to them, because that's always nice. Because you know how you're like, oh, cool, they have a photo of me that I'm never going to see.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I've had so many times when you take photos of the kids when you're traveling and then you show them and the absolute joy they get from seeing those photos. I love that. Oh, I love that. That's a real beautiful way actually to travel, I think, isn't it? Through using that as a way to connect with people. That's really powerful.
Yeah. And everybody has a story, and everybody it's not rushing, and it's taking the time and just being there. So even if you can speak the same language, and more often than not, I can't speak the language at all. So I'll just sit there and we'll like communicate through smiles or like pointing or whatever. And there's a connection because you're actually making time for that person. And you're like, you're important to me right now. And there's nowhere I need to be except right here. And they can feel that whether you're sincere or not. Yeah.
I love that. So you spent
15
15 years in the Philippines. I think it's interesting that you say you just lived there. What did you learn from living in the Philippines then? Because you were quite young when you went there, but what did you take
Yeah.
away from the Philippines, do you think?
Oh, the Filipino people are so resilient. It's a country where there's lots of natural disasters all the time. So resilient and so cheerful. Like in the midst of such chaos, in the midst of devastation, in the midst of poverty, they are so happy. Like with all of the natural disasters that happen there, it always was shocking to me and just humbling to me that I know, like in Canada, how we would be if there was a flood or if there was a typhoon, like we would be like, oh my God. And they're just like, okay, let's just rebuild with smiles on their faces. And you're just like, wow. So that was super huge for me because yeah, I
Is
guess
that faith-based, do you think? Or do you think that's just generational cultural resilience that's
maybe
built?
both, maybe
Mm,
both. Because yeah, they're a deeply Catholic slash Christian nation. In the South, they're Muslim, but generally the Philippines is quite faith-based, no matter what faith they are following. Yeah, resilience and just being able to like still smile in the midst of everything. That is always inspiring to me because if you know me at all, I'm more of a melancholic type than a positive type. So it's easy for me to see like the negative before I see the positive. I'm trying to like be better at it, but like just my nature is to see like to problem solve. Let's just problem solve instead of like, oh
mm.
my God, this is like flowers and roses and like clouds. This is beautiful. No, that's not my go-to thought process. So yeah, yeah, they were very inspiring.
So you did your photography course then. So that was when you were
No,
still
I
in the
didn't do a photography course.
oh,
I am
hey,
a self-taught photographer. I know.
I love that. But that's great. I love that.
Well, when we lived in the Philippines twice, the first time was for almost 6 years, and the second time was 8.5. And at the beginning of that time, that was in 2011, when we moved there. I remember driving down the highway in Metro Manila, and there was this huge billboard for Canon cameras. And I'm a Canon user. Don't hold it against me, all you Sony and other people. But yeah, I'm a Canon person. And there was this billboard, and it had all of like the Canon Philippine ambassadors on there. And I'm scanning, going, what the actual? There was one woman in there. Okay,
Mm.
yes, say less. So I was just like, what? So then, of course, I'm Googling, like, who is this person? Canon Women Ambassador, Philippines. So I found out her name, found her, messaged her. I was like, I need to meet you because you inspired me. You're the only woman person here in the Philippines on the board. What's your story? We met up. She was married at the time, a mom of two with two small kids, and this amazing wedding and portrait photographer. We exchanged stories, and she was like, do you want to work with me? I'm like, yeah, of course. So we started shooting together. I was her second shooter, and she shot super high-end weddings. And oh my God, I have seen some beautiful weddings. I digress. So then this one day in the first year that we met, she calls me up. She's like, Trace, are you free? And she said the dates. I'm like, yeah. She's like, I have a big campaign for a clothing company in Thailand, so I can't shoot this cover story for Lonely Planet Philippines magazine in Turkey. Can you go? Like, did not skip a beat. Absolutely, I can go. Just,
There is no thinking in now. Yes. Okay.
it was like,
I'm
I'm
off.
not going to let anybody. Yes, I'm going. I'm totally free. My passport can go. I get off the phone. And I'm like, so guess what? So that was it. I went with her. I went for her and shot, I shot the cover story for this. And that opened up my eyes to, oh my gosh, the world is so grand and so big. And there's so many stories to tell. And I'm sure I took like 5,000 photos in 8 days. Yeah. Yeah. And so that's how I transitioned from the wedding photography to the travel.
There's
Yeah.
so many threads in that. I think one that comes out of there is you being in pursuit of opportunities and seeing something, but also seeing where there was a lack of femininity or a woman in a space. So you wanted to put a
Right.
female voice or face
Right.
in that space. And also opportunity when you travel. You get different types of opportunity, I think, when you travel and you're in different spaces.
Oh,
And
for sure.
yeah, and I think also the last part you touched on there was storytelling. You know, that your
Yeah.
storytelling. That's a lot of what it is that comes through in your photography. So you
Yeah.
travel and you're telling stories as you travel.
Yeah. Well, and
So
it's interesting, you going back to the whole feminine thing, that only really started to become more of the forefront in how my thought process, because I grew up and as a young woman was very much the man is the head of the house. You must be submissive and like just do as they say. And so, yes, okay, yes. And then it was probably now that I look back, it's probably at the beginning of my perimenopause that I was just like, just a second. Wait just one moment. Ain't nobody got time for that. Yeah. And I mean, even a little bit before, just because my partner was a minister and just there were so many expectations on him that they automatically put on me. And I'm like, wait a second, you didn't hire me. Like, don't put that expectation. Well, you're the wife of the pastor. It's like, and so that's when I started to kind of be like, wait a second. No, I didn't sign up for this. And so then fast forward to shooting and photography and travel, like you said, absolutely. There have been situations wherein I think that if I was a man in some of those situations, I wouldn't have gotten some of the photographs that I have gotten, just because there's something I think sacred, if I can use the word, about being a woman that lets people just bring down their guard a little easier than if it's a man. Especially if you're approachable and if like you're genuinely like, I want to get to know you. I want to see what you're doing. This is really interesting to me.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
see, you feel seen. And for
Yeah.
some women, many women, maybe they don't feel seen. And I guess that all
Yes.
links into this midlife shift, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
there is this point where you're
Mm,
like, hang on, I'm going to start rewriting the script here because I am me
absolutely.
and I am going to be seen and I am going to be doing what I'm doing.
Unapologetically, Joanna.
Unapologetically me. That's who we are. We be us. So when did you establish your company? So you have your company, Follow Your Heart Travel, which I love that. I just love that name. It's like it's a philosophy really, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
it's built into that name. So what does it actually mean to you now in midlife then? And when did you establish it? Is it on that cusp of where you was making the shift?
Well, it was when it was just before we moved back to the Philippines. We were still in Canada and I was in the wedding photography business, and there was this one wedding photographer that I loved, and he would take photographers on these photo tours. And I was like, oh my gosh, I totally want to go. He's going to Italy. This is so exciting. And so then I like looked to see the website. I'm like, there's no way I can afford this. It was just like, for me at that time, atrocious amounts of money that I couldn't afford because I didn't have my own job. I wasn't making my own money. So I was like, oh, and mother of two small children, who comes first, right? Your kids always. And so I had decided to I was following all the links as you do on the website, and I contacted the operator in Italy, and we just started chatting. I'm like, yes, I'm a wedding photographer here in Canada, and I saw your name and da da da. He's, why don't you do a tour? And I'm like, really? He's like, why not? And I'm like, okay. So that's when I started it. So I was like, I need a name. I need something. And I don't know how, I actually genuinely don't know how I came up with that name, but I'll always remember it was when we were in the Philippines that I had met somebody through my photographer friend, the woman, a friend of hers at the time, and they hated the name. That's such a dumb name for a travel company. You need to, and they were like saying like these like corporate-y type names. And I looked at him and I said, I quite like it, so it's going to stay this. And so it has stayed with it. And I think because I didn't waver from that, that maybe subconsciously was like me going, follow your heart, Trace. Do it. Who cares if this guy doesn't like it or if this person doesn't like it or if they like, what is she doing? This is your heart and this is like for you. So I did.
And these are, I mean, you took two big steps. Well, first big step there, I suppose, is really for some people would be like, what, you went all the way to Turkey on your own and you did that shoot on your own. How did you feel about that one when you went into it? Because that was that like, I suppose, your first big kind of like female shift midlife? I'm on my own. I'm going to be doing this. I'm doing it. I'm going.
Well, I think that was the second one. The first one was when I shot the destination wedding in Germany. That was my
Right.
first time to
Yeah.
travel by myself internationally to a non-home like Philippines destination. So I just remember feeling like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. And so then when going to Turkey, I was just kind of like, woo, let's go. So I was traveling also with a woman writer. So like the two of us together was absolutely dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah, you just had so much fun. So you
Too
so
much,
you
yeah.
established the company
Yeah,
and because you needed to, because you was in this space where, yeah, I've got a company, I'm going off on tour. So you go off to
yeah.
Italy. So that what happened then? So you've got your name and the guy says do the tour.
Yeah, so I did a tour. I had 5 photographers from Canada, and we went around Umbria and Tuscany for a week, and that I just was like I remember finishing it, and I said to Max, I said, "I like this." He's like, "Do it." And so then we moved from Canada to the Philippines, and I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna market this to the Filipino photographers because there, of course, I got into the photography world and connections and collaborating and huge amount of Filipinos. The only difference was at the time, Filipino photographers were not making the same amount that someone in North America would be making. So there's no way that they could afford these tours. And I was like, okay, I need to pivot. So, who can afford these tours that are here in my world? People from the World Bank, all of these big um, corporate things. So I joined the American Women's Club in Manila and started just getting to know women. And of course, they love traveling. And so then I just was like, well, yeah, I did like an Italy trip. Oh my God, really? And yeah. So then they were like super excited about that. And then I went to Turkey and I got a bunch of obviously photos from there that I was able to like present and market. And then 2 years after my trip to Turkey for the magazine, I did my first tour there with all these expat women mostly and Filipinos, and it was awesome. So that was the shift of like photo tours to leisure cultural experiences.
I'm just a little interested there. You said about the women's clubs, because I was just thinking about any woman that's choosing or thinking about going to live in a different city somewhere and how to connect to others. Because I've never really done that. I mean, I guess I just kind of connect as I go, and a lot now is
Right.
online. But yeah, what was that like? Was it a North American or was it just a mix of everyone?
I think they're wonderful because you can get connected with other women, which I think is super vital and important, especially at our age, especially if you're moving midlife. Like that's the first thing you need to establish is community. So I get that and I love that. The only downside, if you will, is that you're kind of in a bubble. So everything is about how we live as our Western mindset in this foreign country, which I am opposed to that. Which is why my apartment here is in the middle of a local area in Marrakesh, because I wanted to feel and see and smell and talk and taste as a local does. That's just my own personal thing. I don't, everybody to each their own. But yeah, for me, it was super interesting because I was able to meet so many different women from around the world, literally from around the world, who had such interesting stories. Oh my God, such interesting stories.
So that's something that a woman could do. I like the I there's it's in
Absolutely.
because we're all different. Like you said, for some people, they
Exactly.
want that. That's their comfort space within the expat communities are huge everywhere across the world. But I'm like you, I've always sought out the kind of more local experience because I like the challenge of speaking the language and understanding what people do and why they do it. That for me
Yeah.
is like the real connection to living somewhere different.
Yeah. My
So that's
soul, like, just was like, "Ugh."
yeah, yes, like,
Yeah.
okay, teach me,
"Teach
teach me.
me!"
So that's funny. So when did you move to Greece then? Where was that in the whole kind of
Right.
story?
So our 2 kids, our firstborn graduated in 2016, and we took them back to Canada to get established there. And then our youngest was to graduate in 2019. So we had 3 more years with our youngest there in the Philippines. Both of the kids went to an international school there. And at that point, it was like, okay, so our youngest graduates in 3 years. Are we going to stay here and continue doing these humanitarian projects we're doing, which are sustainable now and they're functioning on their own and they're doing what they were created to do? Or should we like see what else is out there in the world? As one says in their 40s, should we like try something new?
Yeah, and that's the
And
point at
so
which to do it. That's the point.
exactly. So I was actually in Turkey on my second Turkey trip there. And I was going to check out some things in Turkey to see if there's any like sorts of opportunities that we could have to do some nonprofit work there. And then the state of the Turkish government was super unstable. It just didn't feel like it would probably be like a smart move to like go there. So then I just started looking down the coast, and there's all the Greek islands along the coast of Turkey. And the third largest Greek island is Lesbos, and it's one of those islands that lots of refugees were going to. And so on one of my trips, after my trips, I went down to Izmir and then over to Lesbos for 36 hours because that's all I could do because the ferries were so scarce. And I checked it out. I had this amazing Airbnb host who took off the day of work to like show me around. I was like, you don't need to do this. She's like, no, 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 this is exciting. And I just was like, there's something here. There's something here. So I got back home and I said, we need to do a scouting trip. Then the next Christmas, 2017, we as a family, our eldest was in Canada, but we flew them to meet us in Greece. We spent a week at Christmas time on this island, doing some volunteering, checking it out. And at the end of the trip, both of our kids said, yeah, we could totally see you guys here. And so we're like, okay, let's do it. Let's do it. So Rosie, our youngest, graduated in 2019, got her back to Canada that summer, and October 1st of 2019, we moved to Greece. Not knowing the language, not knowing what we were going to actually really do there, but we're like totally open to see what could happen. And then COVID hit. Yeah.
So you were in Greece during COVID?
The beginning part, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we had to go back to Canada to to get our actual resident visa to stay there because we were on tourist visa, which was then just a whole schmoz because then Greece shut down their borders. So then we were stuck in Canada for 9 months and we were like transient for 9 months, which was crazy, but it was also good because we were with our kids who really were struggling during that time. So everything works out for a reason, right? Even though it was like, oh, we just want to be there. We just want to be there. Little did we know that our kids really appreciated and really needed us there during that time. And at the end of the day, they matter more.
It was a
Yeah.
difficult time. So then you finally get back to Greece. So what's the big difference, do you think, between the Philippines and Greece? And I guess who were you different as a woman?
Right.
Because you'd gone through big shifts as well from when you
Yeah.
were young, being in the Philippines, to where you were now, midlife, coming into Greece. You've started a business. You found your photography. Who were you, and how did you how did you adapt to these different environments? What was the big changes that you had to navigate?
Well, an entirely different culture, an entirely different language, an entirely different way of thinking. The Philippines prepared us in lots of ways for Greece because we had some friends at the beginning of our time there who were like, oh, don't ask why or don't ask how come because there's not always an answer. It's like, oh yeah, we know that. That was kind of like that in the Philippines. Or like the way that they did certain things. It's like, oh yeah, that sounds familiar. That's how they did it in the Philippines. So the transition to the culture was, I think, gracious. It was easy. Because, yeah, it's a different language and there's different innuendos and this, that, and the other thing. But because we had lived so long there and had learned to be adaptable and had learned to be, okay, let's just go with the flow and see how this is going to work out, that helped a lot. Because and knock on wood, I mean, it's 6 years we've been there. We went from Manila, 20 million people, to Lesbos, 80,000 people. And I didn't have any like, oh my God, culture shock, which was crazy. So obviously my brain and myself needed that, especially to unpack who I was. I found that especially during COVID, that was the beginning for me of really unpacking, who am I? What do I want to do? Like I'm almost 50. Yeah, it's more than half your life because I don't think I'm going to live to 100. But you think about it, like when you think 50, you're like, okay, like what have I done with my life? And you think and you write everything down. I've done this. Now what do I want to do with my life? Because I've had people in my life older than me, bless them, who have said you shouldn't be doing that. You're getting older. And I'm just like, dude, like I want to like be going fourth gear till I die. Like I don't want to stop. Not that I want to like do it just to do it, but like there's so many things inside of me that I want to try and do and experiment, and that I just can't imagine just sitting and like doing nothing. Yeah.
And you know what it is? You've hit on one of the golden things, I think. I'm trying to think of, I guess it's a rule, or is it I don't know, a value, or I'm trying to think of the word. It'll come back to me. Curiosity. You know, it's being curious, staying curious, because if you're not curious, then what's next, you know? you're just going to sit back and you're not going to wonder. And there is so much to, whether it's just you're curious about you or you're curious about the world or something else or something that you're learning. I think curiosity is what drives you to keep moving forward and to grow and to learn and
Yeah.
to keep improving. And I think it's really important to have that energy. And I love the energy that you have that you take towards everything. You said there, another key part you said was being adaptable and going with the flow. And I think that is a really key philosophy for life, and especially in midlife, because in midlife, everything changes so fast. You have to learn to adapt and go with the flow.
Because if you know me at all, in the past, you can ask my family, least adaptable. Like, I remember picking up
Interesting.
yes, I remember picking up the kids from high school. And like, cause you go there and I've like been doing my stuff during the day and this, that, go pick up the kids. And they're like, okay, so-and-so's coming over and they're going to stay for dinner and da-da-da. And I'm like, what? Like, excuse me, but you've just like messed with my, like, I didn't plan this. Now I have to like shift and so like, it's like messed with it. Yeah. I just remember, can you just like maybe text me earlier in the day to let me, I'm not good with like sudden surprises. So that was like huge for me. But at the same time, I mean, I was 23 when I first left Canada. The security and the knowing of like life as it was in Canada. I guess in a way, maybe I was undercover adaptable, just didn't know that I was adaptable. And as life progressed, it was like, oh yeah, it's easy. It was easier for me because this is just what I do. Like you have to be in order to enjoy, in order to survive sometimes, in order to discover who you are, you have to be adaptable. Yeah, I don't know. I
Yeah.
remember one time when I was in the desert here in Morocco. It was my very first trip 10 years ago. I was talking with a nomad and they asked me, they're like, you people in North America, I just don't understand. And I'm like, of course. What do you mean you don't understand?
Yeah.
What is there not to understand? They were like, you just have to have everything planned out all the time and you just can't go with the flow. And I mean, that super resonated with me being like the planning person and like
Yeah.
not. And I said, well, you need to plan something, but sometimes you just need to like let it just play out and like, I remember that so clearly and that stuck with me and has still stuck with me. And it was almost like this silent, but not silent mantra in my ear. Stop being so go, and just go with the flow. Just go with it. Where now I think I told you that when I come to Morocco, as soon as I step off the plane, it's just like, I like get into like Moroccan mindset. It's just like, I'm here, I'm in my Moroccan home. And how I think in Greece, how I think in Canada is not how I think here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my mind loves it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it is adaptability. And I guess that's what
Yeah.
comes from travel, isn't it? And moving through
Yeah.
different cultures.
Oh
It's
my gosh.
different ways
Absolutely.
of living and understanding. It's the growth that it gains. It always, for me, the travel just brings so much growth and so much learning, so much self-understanding,
It's the biggest classroom that we can have.
It really
It's the
is.
biggest and best classroom, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I know, I totally agree. That's why we're both so
Yeah.
passionate about
Yeah.
people, women specifically at this age.
Yes. Women.
Being out in the world and traveling, and it's not just
Especially
traveling for
midlife.
the sake. Yeah, and it's not
Yes.
just traveling for the sake of traveling. It's
No.
traveling to learn about others and about yourself. It gives you
Yes.
so much. It's such a gift. So you mentioned there, so it's such an interesting journey and so many different cultures that you've moved through. So now you're in Morocco, you're sitting in your own apartment, you're grounding down there, you've got everything that's kind of unfolding in the way that it's meant to. And how do you feel like these are a different type of root that's growing there? Because you have a real, like you said to me, you've got your soul base there. I understand that about Morocco. Now I've been there, I
Yeah.
found it as well. What is it about Morocco and why did you choose to kind of put down these roots there as well?
Well, it was something that I have wanted to do for a while. I didn't know how I was going to do it for a while. And then with a series of events, I was able to do it. But like emotionally, I wasn't sure how I was going to do it because, I have also a life in Greece and we have an incredible organization there that we run and beautiful friendships. And it's like, but there is something about Morocco from the day that I stepped here. Because before I even came here, I had zero expectations. And as soon as I got here, it was like, funny story. Wait. As soon as I came here, I felt like I connected and it was just like, I'm home. And the funny story is, over the years of really feeling like this was home, I did a DNA test because I'm like, I've got to be like North African or something. Like, I feel this is home. Yeah, there's not an ounce of it in me. You know what? I'm going to do a different company because I think that was a bad test.
He cheated you.
Cheated me. Actually, not true. There was 0.5 Greek and Balkan.
Well, there you go. There's some,
Right?
there's
Like,
some
come on.
there. There's some that
Is it though?
explains
Is it
it.
though?
There we go.
I literally was so disappointed. I was probably sad for about 6 hours after I read. I was like, yeah.
Grief.
So yeah, Morocco, I don't know.
What would you say to a woman who's listening about Morocco? Because we talked about this before, about Morocco and the image that Morocco has had for tourism, specifically to women in the past. And I didn't find that at all when I got there. So what would you say to a woman who's thinking about possibly coming to Morocco? Because you've been in and out of there now for 10 years and you're there most of the time solo traveling, correct?
Yeah, exactly. What would I say? 2 things. It's safe. I feel safer here than I do in my home city of Vancouver in Canada. It's bizarre to me because yes, I'm starting to learn the language so I can understand it a little bit more. But even before I started learning the language, I felt safe. I think the second thing that I felt safe. One, you need to have street smarts, like in any place when you travel. Have the street smarts. Don't do the stuff that you would like. Don't travel at night alone, walking down a dark street. Don't go into a cab without the meter on. Like the streets, like just your gut and go. And the second thing is go with your gut. Your gut never wrongs you. Your gut knows, especially as women. We have like this sixth sense with our gut that I think is absolutely amazing for us as women to travel because we just know.
Yeah.
We just know.
Yeah.
Especially about
that's
people.
really, that I think is really interesting because I've found now in midlife with the space to connect back to myself and listen to myself, I've found that intuition has become so much more powerful because I'm so much more attuned to it and I'm so much more accepting of it. And there has been instances when I've not listened to it and then afterwards I've gone, I told you. I told you, why didn't you listen to yourself? You know, you knew.
Yeah.
So it's really important that you do, women, that we kind of connect so that we do listen to our intuition because it is there. It is there.
For sure. And
So-
like even thinking about that with like listening to your intuition, because as we get older and going into midlife, you know, and we need to get like our blood checked more. We need to like do these things just to make sure like the physical body is still working properly. And little things come up and you're like, oh my gosh. And they could be scares or they could just be like these or that. And I know for me, like I had a scare and it stopped me in my tracks. It was like a year ago. And I was like, you know what? I'm 52 and no more. I'm not going to, one day, maybe that. It's like, no, I'm going to live unabashedly me. I'm going to do all the things that I want to do. I'm going to be selfish for once in my life because I had 2 kids and it was all them. And I would do it again for my kids, doing it for 20, however years. Finally, it's like, I have time to breathe and actually, what do I want?
Yeah.
And it's okay that I want that. And yes, you can do it because you can. Giving yourself the permission.
Giving yourself the permission and not feeling guilty and not feeling selfish. These are the words that we hear all of the time. And these are the things that women say all of the time. Oh, but I feel guilty. Look, I still do it, but I have to kind of check myself now. I have to check myself and go, no, hang on.
Yeah.
Let's think this through because you've done this, this and this. Then why can't you do that? Why can't you do that for yourself? You would encourage your friend to do it. Why wouldn't you encourage yourself to do it?
Exactly.
So has there been a defining moment, do you think, or experience on the road that's kind of changed the way you see yourself or see the world? That's a biggie.
I think honestly, in the path that I have been walking the last 5 years, I think what spurred it was that conversation in the desert with that nomad. And then just me trying to live more in the present instead of planning for the future. And then as you live more in the present, you're able to actually experience more and feel more and be like, oh my gosh, like you're able to actually live more because you're not thinking about the future. You're not thinking, and in no way am I saying we shouldn't think about our future. Absolutely we should. But to the point where you're not present. Yeah.
Where you're trying to plan ahead so far and you miss today.
And do all the thing and everything you're doing right now is for tomorrow. It's like, why don't we do something right now that we can enjoy right now, right here today?
Yeah. And I think travel gives you that space and that time, because you can come out of your home life and your responsibilities and everything who you are, and then you can step into this new space, whether it's a week, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, a year, you move somewhere
Right.
else. You get the
Yeah.
chance to kind of let all of that go and
Yeah.
and
And sometimes it comes
something different.
sometimes when you go back to normal life, you get back into things. But then I know for me, at the beginning of that, you go back to normal life and just like you readjust and like, okay, back to normal life. But over the last years, it's like,
Mm,
no,
mm,
no. This is a mindset now that I'll take into my normal life. And there might be growing pains because guess what? Trace, the partner, the business partner, all the things doesn't act, react, see, speak how they normally did because that was how they did. It's like, no, 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 no. I'm evolving and I am at a place where it's like, yeah, I feel like this, even though I've always felt like this. Actually, this is what I actually feel like. And being okay with ruffling feathers, if you will.
mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Emerging and evolving. I mean, they're just these
Ooh,
huge things
emerging.
that we do,
Nice
don't we?
word. Nice word.
We come out and we start seeing, and that's when this is like the kind of way that I see it, is you kind of awaken, and then you start to kind of,
Awakened.
you
Yes.
do. You start
Somebody
to just
said
go,
it's not midlife crisis and midlife awakening.
it
I
is.
absolutely,
It is.
absolutely 100% agree with that.
I don't like the word crisis. I won't say that
It's
word
not
because
though,
it's
because
not a
it's not a
crisis.
crisis, but like our insides, our hearts, our souls are awakening to like, there's more. I want more. I want more than that I've just always seen for the last 20 years. I want
Yep.
something more. I want something
Yep.
tangible. I want to do stuff that I've only dreamt about doing. It's like, I want the courage to like take that step to do this, do that, say this, say that. So exciting.
It is. Okay. So that's a really good thing to tap onto that. So what does courage mean to you now then in this phase of life?
You want to hear a funny thing?
Go for it.
My name actually means courageous. And what I have learned over the years is that the name that you have, it's said over you hundreds of times a day. And that also, so you're being like said that Tracey, courage, courage, courage. That is also the biggest thing in your life that you struggle with. So for a
Mm.
very long time, I was very shy. I was not courageous. I was filled with fear. Because what if I do the wrong thing? What if I make somebody upset? What if? So like, I feel like in the last 5, 6, 10 years, I'm actually starting to actually live out what my name means. It's like, yeah, I'm going to do that because that's who I am.
You know what? I don't even know. I can't even remember if I'm going to get my phone now. I'm just checking
It's
it
like,
out.
Google, what does Joanna mean?
That's exactly what I'm going to do. And anyone that is listening to this podcast, please do this.
Yeah, we're like squirrels.
Well, yeah, I got a feeling it's a biblical name, my one.
It is, but beautiful.
I'm going to be interested.
So the meaning
What
is God is gracious.
Oh, there you go.
Grace.
Grace.
Oh, but that is you.
I'll
You
take
are
that.
so
Thank
gracious. You are.
You're courageous. We just love one another.
Right.
Gifts of life. So, what's one lesson then you've learned about following your heart? Because that's the name of your company. What do you think that has taught you?
Following your heart.
Especially
What
if it
has
leads you
taught
somewhere
me?
you didn't expect it to.
That there's never a mistake when you follow your heart. There's never coincidence. It's never like it's like, I'm not someone who thinks that there's one person for one person in the world. I think there's like variety, but I do believe that we step into things that were meant for us.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does make sense. And I guess that kind of touched on everything that we've spoken about. It kind of like brings it around to a full circle, growth that we have in midlife, the courage that we develop, the shaking up of who we are and letting the old person, and just kind of coming to this point where you go, okay, well, where's my heart leading me? And your intuition saying yes,
Yeah.
and the little signs, because I've got a big thing about signs and little synchronicities. Notice, and you start to go, yeah, and trusting
Yeah.
yourself and trusting when you don't
Yes.
know the path and just
Yeah.
going with it. I think
Because
you've just
sometimes you got to
done
walk off the
perfectly.
cliff
Yeah,
and be like, is there really going to be anything there to catch me? But you won't know unless you walk off the cliff.
that's right. One door
Yeah.
closes, another one opens.
Always.
It's just having the belief.
Always.
It's having the belief and
Always.
knowing and trusting yourself. That's a lot of it that comes back with midlife, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Because I think as women, sorry, the patriarchy. I think as women, we've been ingrained as women for decades that you're less than, your voice doesn't matter. So all those things that we're now fighting against, and we're now like, "Hey, actually, no." Even me, who I feel like I'm feminist in a lot of the ways that I am, I struggle some days like, well, should I say that? Like, I'm just this person. I'm only this. It's like, and you have to almost give yourself this, like, turn around and like go in front of me like, self, you know exactly who you are and you know exactly what you were created to do. Do it. Don't worry about this. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about them. You have to sometimes like be your own like hype
Guru.
party, you know? Yeah. You
You
can
do.
do
No, I agree
this.
with that.
Yeah.
Self-talk, it's so
Yes.
powerful. It's
It's
so
so
powerful.
powerful.
It is.
Absolutely.
It is.
Yeah.
It's one thing that I do, like I put it into my practice at the end of yoga or at the end of
Mm,
meditation that I will tell, and it sounds kooky and I felt kooky, but telling myself that I love Joanna, I love you.
absolutely.
It's such a simple thing, but it's so empowering, because
You know the mirror in my house by the bathroom?
yeah,
I'll walk by, a kid goes there, I'm like, damn, girl, you look good. Like, you gotta, like, do that stuff. You gotta do that. You
yeah,
got to.
because who else is
Like,
going to do it? And why should you look for
yes,
outward? You don't. Why should you
exactly.
look for outward like
No,
recognition of who you are?
no.
To
Because
empower you.
when you know, like, damn, I'm good. You walk outside, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter because
No.
you, like, feel fine. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
also when I
Yeah.
look in the mirror and the hair's everywhere and the grey hairs and the wrinkles that
Love
we were
that.
just talking
Love
about, I
that.
just go,
Yes.
okay, that's it. This is
Yep.
it. And I don't
Yep.
care.
Yep.
I am who I am. I can accept it. That's it.
I give 0. Yes.
Yeah, it's so empowering. So empowering.
Super.
Okay,
Mm.
last question then.
And I think that that's why you and I connected really well, because we have this passion to empower women, especially in our age. My life verse by Mary Oliver, tell me, what is it that you want to do with your one wild and precious life? Like, you've only got one go at this. And so when you see women who with the potential hidden, but they're like maybe afraid or timid or fearful, all these things, you're just like, oh, I just want to.
Yep. Come do it because you can do
Yeah.
it. You're entitled to
Yeah.
do it. No
Exactly.
one's telling you can't do it. Only you. It's only yourself. You're stopping yourself, Do it. Get out there. It's so empowering, it makes such a shift in your mindset. And yeah, travel is that key. That's the key to opening it. I honestly believe that.
I
It's
think so.
stepping out and taking one courageous step. And for some women, they've spoken to me about the fact of just stepping into the airport scares them. Okay, you know what?
Interesting.
That's the first step then. You navigate the airport, you get on the aeroplane
Keep
and you
going
get
to the
somewhere else.
airport. Go have
And
airport dates with yourself. Absolutely.
that's a really good idea.
Why not? Yes. If you can't get into the airport first, go park your car by the runway and watch the airplanes come in and go. And just think of, oh, I wonder where that one's going. I wonder where that one's going. And then like gradually make your way to the airport. Okay, I'm going to have a coffee here. I'm going to check this out. Oh,
Yeah.
they'll be addicted.
It's getting comfortable in new spaces.
Yes.
And that's a lot of it,
Yes.
isn't it? It's exposing yourself to new experiences in new places. And that's where the growth comes. Because if you
Right.
face your fears, you're going to grow. That's just it. Okay, last question then. If you could speak back to your younger self before all of these extraordinary journeys have come through your life, what would you tell her? Maybe to
Go.
that one before you left
Go.
Canada.
Go.
Don't think twice, just go.
Don't. Just go.
Do you think you had a doubt before you went to the Philippines? Do you think there was any doubts then when you were younger?
No, but I was in a secure situation where, I felt secure in going. But like, yeah, I think like prior to being married, I did. I had planned to travel with a girlfriend, but I got scared and I didn't. So and I would say, and this is why I tell my daughter and my eldest all the time, like, especially my daughter, just because being a woman, like, keep traveling, keep doing new things, keep doing this, because it just is going to empower you, as you say.
Yeah. And grow,
Yeah.
empower you, grow you, expose you to things that you've not seen before, develop new interests that you may not have had before, a passion for something that you didn't even know was inside of you, maybe a skill that you didn't
Yes.
even know because you've never thought of
Yes.
it or seen it or tried it.
Yes. And you wouldn't unless you travel to a place that like scrapes at the paint of who we are or who we've always been. And then it's like, oh, wait, what's under there? And then you like really you're like, oh my gosh, I love doing that. Oh my gosh, I love doing this. Yeah. Travel. Ugh, I love travel.
Me and you are just like, it's all about the
Must
travel.
I don't know. Do you ever like when you're like even not even done like the trip that you're on? Are you like, okay, where can I go next?
Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
that all the time. It's like, I don't have I don't have anything booked. Oh my God, I need to book something because there's nothing in like in the pipeline. We got to book something now. I have to
Yeah.
because
I
it's
kind
like,
of feel like I'm flatlining.
yes.
If there's nothing coming up, I'm like flatlining. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
what's coming next then? And I think
Yeah.
I see that actually. I see people, actually, I put a poll up the other day and I said, what do you do when you get the post-travel blues? And the top one was that people said they start planning the next trip when they come home.
That's right.
You know, putting the plan
That's
in
when
action.
should. Yeah.
Tracey, thank you so much. That's
So
been
fun.
an absolute delight. So
So
much
fun.
fun. I love it. Right. Have a great day.
Thank you.
And
You
we'll
too.
speak
Mwah.
soon. Till next time, may you keep awakening, emerging, and evolving on your own midlife butterfly journey. Follow the podcast, hit subscribe, and share it with your fellow midlife butterflies. And if you have a story to share, reach out. My emails and DMs are in the show notes. I would love to hear from you. Your journey could inspire another woman.